The Indus River, also called the Sindhu River, or a basin, is a major south-flowing river in South Asia. The total length of the river is 3,180 kilometers, which makes it one of the longest rivers in Asia. It flows through Pakistan, the Indian state of Jammu and Kashmir and western Tibet. Originating in the Tibetan Plateau in the vicinity of Lake Mansarovar, the river runs a course through the Ladakh region of Jammu and Kashmir, towards Gilgit-Baltistan, and then flows in a southerly direction along the entire length of Punjab, Pakistan to merge into the Arabian Sea near the port city of Karachi in Sindh. It is the longest river of Pakistan. The river has a total drainage area exceeding 1,165,000 square kilometers. Its estimated annual flow stands at around 207 cubic kilometers, making it the 21st largest river in the world in terms of annual flow. The Zanskar is its left bank tributary in Ladakh. In the plains, its left bank tributary is the Chenab, which itself has four major tributaries, namely, the Jhelum, the Ravi, the Beas and the Sutlej. Its principal right bank tributaries are the Shyok, the Gilgit, the Kabul, the Gomal and the Kuram. Beginning in a mountain spring and fed with glaciers and rivers in the Himalayas, the river supports ecosystems of temperate forests, plains and arid countryside. The Indus forms the delta of present-day Pakistan, mentioned in the Vedic Rigveda as Sapta Sindhu and the Iranian Zend-Avestar as Hapta Hindu. The river has been a source of wonder since the classical period, with King Darius of Persia sending his Greek subject Silax of Karayandir to explore the river as early as 510 BC. Etymology and names. The word Indus is the Romanized form of the ancient Greek word Indos, borrowed from the Old Persian word Hindus. Megasthenes' book Indica derives its name from the river's Greek name, Indos, and describes Nikos' contemporaneous account of how Alexander the Great crossed the river. The ancient Greeks referred to the Indians as Indwa, literally meaning the people of the Indus. The country of India and the Pakistani province of Sindh owe their names to the river. Rigveda and the Indus Rigveda also describes several mythical rivers, including one named Sindhu. The Rigvedic Sindhu is thought to be the present-day Indus River and is attested 176 times in its text, 95 times in the plural, more often used in the generic meaning. In the Rigveda, notably in the later hymns, the meaning of the word is narrowed to refer to the Indus River in particular, as in the list of rivers mentioned in the hymn of Nadistuti Sutta. The Rigvedic hymns apply a feminine gender to all the rivers mentioned therein, but Sindhu is the only river attributed with a masculine gender. Sindhu is seen as a strong warrior amongst other rivers, which are seen as goddesses and compared to cows and mares yielding milk and butter. Other names in Urdu, the official language of Pakistan, the Indus is known as. In other languages of the region, the river is known as in Hindi, in Sindhi, in Kmhkmh Punjabi, in Gurmukhi Punjabi, in Pashto, in Arabic, in Tibetan, in Chinese, and Nilab in Turka. Description. The Indus River provides key water resources for Pakistan's economy, especially the breadbasket of Punjab province, which accounts for most of the nation's agricultural production, and Sindh. The word Punjab means land of five rivers, and the five rivers are Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Beas and Sutlej, all of which finally flow into the Indus. The Indus also supports many heavy industries and provides the main supply of potable water in Pakistan. The ultimate source of the Indus is in Tibet. The river begins at the confluence of the Seng and Gar rivers that drain the Nanglong Kangri and Gangdisa Shan mountain ranges. The Indus then flows northwest through Ladakh and Baltistan into Gilgit, just south of the Karakoram range. The Shyok, Shigar and Gilgit rivers carry glacial waters into the main river. It gradually bends to the south, coming out of the hills between Peshawar and Rawalpindi. The Indus passes gigantic gorges 4,500–5,200 meters deep near the Nanga Parbat Massif. It flows swiftly across Hazara and is dammed at the Tarbela Reservoir. The Kabul River joins it near Attic. The remainder of its route to the sea is in the plains of the Punjab and Sindh, where the flow of the river becomes slow and highly braided. It is joined by the Panjnad at Kmhkmh. Beyond this confluence, the river, at one time, was named the Satnad River, as the river now carried the waters of the Kabul River, the Indus River and the 5 Punjab rivers. Passing by Jamshoro, it ends in a large delta to the east of Thatta. The Indus is one of the few rivers in the world to exhibit a tidal bore. The Indus system is largely fed by the snows and glaciers of the Himalayas, Karakoram and the Hindu Kush ranges of Tibet. The Indian states are Jammu and Kashmir and Himachal Pradesh and Gilgit-Baltistan of Pakistan. The flow of the river is also determined by the seasons. It diminishes greatly in the winter, while flooding its banks in the monsoon months from July to September. There is also evidence of a steady shift in the course of the river since prehistoric times. It deviated westwards from flowing into the Rann of Kutch and adjoining Banna grasslands after the 1816 earthquake. The traditional source of the river is the Kmhkmh or Lion's Mouth, a perennial spring, not far from the sacred Mount Kailash, marked by a long low line of Tibetan chortens. There are several other tributaries nearby, which may possibly form a longer stream than Kmhkmh, but unlike the Kmhkmh, are all dependent on snowmelt. The Zanskar River, which flows into the Indus in Ladakh, has a greater volume of water than the Indus itself before that point. That night in the tent, next to Kmhkmh, I asks on Metering which of the Indus tributaries which we crossed this morning is the longest. All of them, he says, start at least a day's walk away from here. The Bukar begins near the village of Yagra. The Lamalise's source is in a holy place. There is a monastery there. The Dor Jungla is a very difficult and long walk, 3 days perhaps, and there are many sharp rocks, but its water is clear and blue. Hence the tributaries are the name of Zomchu, which Kmhkmh translates as blue water. The Rakmajang rises from a dark lake called the Black Sea, one of the longest tributaries, and thus a candidate for the river's technical source, is the Kmhkmh, the river we crossed yesterday by bridge. Also known as the Lungdep-chu, it flows into the Indus from the southeast, and rises a day's walk from Darchen. But Sonamtering insists that the Dor Jungla is the longest of the 3 types of water that fall into the Sangsanplo, Lion River, or Indus. History. Paleolithic sites have been discovered in Podhohar near Pakistan's capital Islamabad, with the stone tools of the Soan culture. In ancient Gandhara, near Islamabad, evidence of cave dwellers dated 15,000 years ago has been discovered at Mardan. The major cities of the Indus Valley Civilization, such as Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, date back to around 3300 BC, and represent some of the largest human habitations of the ancient world. The Indus Valley Civilization extended from across Pakistan and northwest India, with an upward reach from east of Jhelum River to Ropar on the upper Sutlej. The coastal settlements extended from Sutkagandor at the Pakistan-Iran border to Kutch in modern Gujarat, India. There is an Indus site on the Amud Darya at Shortufai in northern Afghanistan, and the Indus site Alamgirpur at the Hindon River is located only 28 kilometers from Delhi. To date, over 1,052 cities and settlements have been found, mainly in the general region of the Kmhkmh River and its tributaries. Among the settlements were the major urban centers of Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, as well as Lothal, Dholavira, Ganeriwala, and Rakigara. Only 90 to 96 of more than 800 known Indus Valley sites have been discovered on the Indus and its tributaries. The Sutlej, now a tributary of the Indus, in Harappan times flowed into the Kmhkmh River, in the watershed of which were more Harappan sites than along the Indus. Most scholars believe that settlements of Gandhara grave culture of the early Indo-Aryans flourished in Gandhara from 1700 BC to 600 BC, when Mohenjo-daro and Harappa had already been abandoned. The word India is derived from the Indus River. In ancient times, India initially referred to those regions immediately along the east bank of the Indus, but by 300 BC, Greek writers including Herodotus and Megasthenes were applying the term to the entire subcontinent that extends much farther eastward. The lower basin of the Indus forms a natural boundary between the Iranian plateau and the Indian subcontinent. This region embraces all or parts of the Pakistani provinces Balochistan, Khyber-Pakhtunkhwa, Punjab and Sindh, and the countries Afghanistan and India. It was crossed by the invading armies of Alexander, but after his Macedonians conquered the West Bank, joining it to the Hellenic Empire, they elected to retreat along the southern course of the river, ending Alexander's Asian campaign. The Indus Plains were later dominated by the Persian Empire and then the Kushan Empire. Over several centuries, Muslim armies of Muhammad bin Qasim, Mahmud of Ghazni, Muhammad Ghori, Tamerlane and Babur crossed the river to invade the inner regions of the Punjab and points farther south and east. Geography. Tributaries: Asta River, Balram River, Beas River, Chenab River, Dras River, Gar River, Geyser River, Gilgit River, Gomel River, Hunza River, Jhelum River, Kabul River, Kuram River, Nagar River, Panjnad River, Ravi River, Satluj River, Shigar River, Shyok River, Son River, Tanyabal River, Zanskar River. Geology. The Indus River feeds the Indus submarine fan, which is the second largest sediment body on the Earth at around 5 million cubic kilometers of material eroded from the mountains. Studies of the sediment in the modern river indicate that the Karakoram Mountains in northern Pakistan and India are the single most important source of material, with the Himalayas providing the next largest contribution, mostly via the large rivers of the Punjab. Analysis of sediments from the Arabian Sea has demonstrated that, prior to 5 million years ago, the Indus was not connected to these Punjab rivers, which instead flowed east into the Ganges and were captured after that time. Earlier work showed that sand and silt from western Tibet was reaching the Arabian Sea by 45 million years ago, implying the existence of an ancient Indus River by that time. The delta of this Proto-Indus River has subsequently been found in the Kathiawar Basin, on the Afghan-Pakistan border, in the Nanga Parbat region. The massive amounts of erosion due to the Indus River following the capture and rerouting through that area is thought to bring middle and lower crustal rocks to the surface. In November 2011, satellite images showed that Indus River has re-entered India, feeding Great Rann of Kutch, Little Rann of Kutch, and a lake near Ahmedabad known as Nal Sarovar. Heavy rains had left the river basin along with the Lake Manchar, Lake Hemal and Kalri Lake inundated. This incident happened after 2 centuries, when Indus River majorly shifted its course westwards after 1819 Rann of Kutch earthquake. Wildlife. Accounts of the Indus Valley from the times of Alexander's campaign indicate a healthy forest cover in the region, which has now considerably receded. The Mughal Emperor Babur writes of encountering rhinoceroses along its bank in his memoirs. Extensive deforestation and human interference in the ecology of the Shivalik Hills has led to a marked deterioration in vegetation and growing conditions. The Indus Valley regions are arid with poor vegetation. Agriculture is sustained largely due to irrigation works. Indus River and its watershed has a rich biodiversity. It is home to around 25 amphibian species and 147 species, 22 of which are only found in the Indus. Mammals. The blind Indus River dolphin is a subspecies of dolphin found only in the Indus River. It formerly also occurred in the tributaries of the Indus River. According to the World Wildlife Fund claims, it is one of the most threatened cetaceans, with only about 1,000 still existing. Fish. Palefish Tenulosa ilisha of the river is a delicacy for people living along the river. The population of fish in the river is moderately high, with Sukur, Thatta and Kotri being the major fishing centers, all in the lower Sindh course. but damming and irrigation has made fish farming an important economic activity. Located southeast of Karachi, the large delta has been recognized by conservationists as one of the world's most important ecological regions. Here the river turns into many marshes, streams and creeks and meets the sea at shallow levels. Here marine fishes are found in abundance, including pomfret and prawns. Economy. The Indus is the most important supplier of water resources to the Punjab and Sindh plains. It forms the backbone of agriculture and food production. In Pakistan, the river is especially critical since rainfall is meager in the lower Indus Valley. Irrigation canals were first built by the people of the Indus Valley Civilization, and later by the engineers of the Kushan Empire and the Mughal Empire. Modern irrigation was introduced by the British East India Company in 1850. The construction of modern canals accompanied with the restoration of old canals. The British supervised the construction of one of the most complex irrigation networks in the world. The Gudda Barrage is 1,350 meters long, irrigating Sukur, Jacobabad, Larkana and Kalat. The Sukur Barrage serves over 20,000 square kilometers. After Pakistan came into existence, a water control treaty signed between India and Pakistan in 1960 guaranteed that Pakistan would receive water from the Indus River and its two tributaries, the Jhelum River and the Chenab River, independently of upstream control by India. The Indus Basin project consisted primarily of the construction of two main dams. The Mangla Dam built on the Jhelum River and the Tarbela Dam constructed on the Indus River, together with their subsidiary dams. The Pakistan Water and Power Development Authority undertook the construction of the Chashma-Jhelum Link Canal, linking the waters of the Indus and Jhelum rivers, extending water supplies to the regions of Bahawalpur and Multan. Pakistan constructed the Tarbela Dam near Rawalpindi, standing 2,743 meters long and 143 meters high, with an 80-kilometer-long reservoir. The Kotri Barrage near Hyderabad is 915 meters long and provides additional supplies for Karachi. It supports the Chashma Barrage near Dera Ismail Khan used for irrigation and flood control. For the Taunsa Barrage near Dera Ghazi Khan produces 100,000 kilowatts of electricity. The extensive linking of tributaries with the Indus has helped spread water resources to the valley of Peshawar, in the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. The extensive irrigation and dam projects provide the basis for Pakistan's large production of crops such as cotton, sugarcane and wheat. The dams also generate electricity for heavy industries and urban centers. People. The inhabitants of the regions through which the Indus River passes and forms a major natural feature and resource are diverse in ethnicity, religion, national and linguistic backgrounds. On the northern course of the river in the state of Jammu and Kashmir in India, live the Buddhist people of Ladakh, of Tibetan stock, and the Dards of Indo-Aryan or Dardic stock and practicing Buddhism and Islam. Then it descends into Baltistan, northern Pakistan, passing the main Balti city of Skardu. A river from Dubar Bala also drains into it at Dubar Bazaar. People living in this area are mainly Kohistani and speak the Kohistani language. Major areas through which the Indus River passes in Kohistan are Dasu, Patin and Dubar. As it continues through Pakistan, the Indus River forms a distinctive boundary of ethnicity and cultures. Upon the western banks the population is largely Pashtun, Baloch, and of other Iranian stock. The eastern banks are largely populated by people of Indo-Aryan stock, such as the Punjabis and the Sindhis. In northern Punjab and the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, ethnic Pashtun tribes live alongside Dardic people in the hills, Burashos, and Punjabi people. The people living along the Indus River speak Punjabi and Sindhi on the eastern side, Pashto plus Baluchi as well as Baroi. In the province of Sindh, the upper third of the river is inhabited by people speaking Saraiki, which is a somewhat transitional dialect of the Punjabi and Sindhi languages.